Domnilor și domnilor, un privilegiu să ne revedem cu generalul Ben Hodges, fostul comandant al forțelor americane din Europa. General Ben Hodges, thank you so much for having this interview.
Thank you for the privilege, Radu.
What will happen with NATO? What will happen with U.S. presence in Europe? Here in Romania, we are very keen to see a greater U.S. military presence here in Mihail Cogolnicianu, in Câmpia Turzii, in Deveselu. But since that the U.S. administration wants to reshape the number of troops in our country.
Yeah, it's hard to know for sure what this administration intends to do. Anybody that thinks logically about why we are in Europe, why we have soldiers in Romania and our Air Force at the invitation of our Romanian allies, anybody that thinks logically about that understands why we need to do this. I was impressed that General Cavoli testified about a month ago in front of the Senate and House Armed Services Committee. He said he strongly recommended, this is General Cavoli, the Supreme Allied Commander, he said that he recommended against any reduction in the U.S. presence in Europe because of the threat of Russia and the importance of American contribution to deterrence of Russia in this strategically important region that is important to the United States. So from a logical standpoint, it makes no sense to reduce what is already a pretty small presence. But this administration talks about, you know, Indo-Pacific region and higher priority. We don't have much in Europe that would be moved to the Pacific, so it's not about refocusing stuff. But I can imagine that over the next few months, we will see a process where the size of big army, the big U.S. Army, is going to be reduced to pay for more air power and sea power in the Pacific. So if that happens, then you could see a reduction in the size of the U.S. Army and therefore a reduction in the size of U.S. Army in Europe. But frankly, this administration has not been very predictable, so I can't be confident in saying what will happen.
What kind of signal would be this for Russia and for Putin? Because everybody agrees that Putin doesn't want peace, not only in Ukraine, but maybe he was projecting and thinking to expand the war in Europe.
Yeah, well, he absolutely is. I mean, they say this. They want to destroy Ukraine as a state. And then they come to Moldova, Georgia, and I think then probably continue as long as they see that the United States appears to be uncommitted, and if they see that Europe lacks the self-confidence to stand up for itself, I think that invites aggression. Now, none of this is guaranteed. But when I look at everything that the Russians say and do, and I look at how vulnerable we appear because we seem uncertain about things, I think that raises the risk of Russia making a terrible miscalculation. But having said that, even if the United States reduces its presence, and even if the United States is seen as maybe not so reliable, the combined economies, populations, and militaries of all of our European friends, plus Canada and UK, it dwarfs Russia. I mean, it's not even close. And so what Europe really lacks is not industrial capacity or military capability. It lacks self-confidence. It lacks the political will to say, okay, enough of this. We are going to come together as Europeans, and we're going to make sure that Ukraine is successful, and we're going to make sure that we are so prepared that Russia will never, ever want to attack.
You know Romania so well, General Hodges. What will you recommend to our country, a NATO country in the forefront of the Russian war, if United States will disengage not only from Romania but from Europe? What will you recommend to Romanian authorities?
Well, of course, the responsibility of the Romanian government is to the protection and prosperity of its people. Regardless of what anybody else does, that's job one for the Romanian government. and your excellent military is to protect Romanian people and your interests. So what does that mean then? Number one, and I have to say congratulations to Romania for not only making the hard decision that you made several months ago, but now to have a successful election that, I live in Germany. You could feel it all over Europe, the relief with this election that you just had, to see that not only that democracy is worth fighting for, but that it can prevail against these evil forces driven by Russia, but not only Russia. So what does that mean? So three things. Number one, the government has to continue to build and strengthen resilience in the society to help people trust the institutions of democracy, the courts, the legislative bodies, that the government can deliver what it's supposed to deliver, and that it can prevent corruption. That's number one, that what Romania has to do. Number two, Romania working closely with its neighbors, especially Bulgaria and Turkey as NATO allies, but also Moldova and Ukraine, and Georgia will come back. I mean, the people of Georgia, they tasted democracy. They don't want to be pulled back, but they're going through a difficult time right now. But working with all the other Black Sea nations to help enforce freedom of navigation that Romanian farmers depend on, Romanian industry depends on, all of us depend on the ability for commerce and people to move back and forth freely and safely on the Black Sea. So working together to make sure that Russia can never interfere with that again. And I think, I listened to General Vlad yesterday talking about the number of mines that had been had cleared from the Black Sea. This is constant work. It's constant. And I think Romania plays a key role here. And then the third thing that Romania has to do, Romanians should assume that if Russia has made the terrible decision to attack any NATO country, that means they have already made the decision to launch hundreds of drones and missiles and bombs against Constanța and any other seaport, transportation infrastructure, civilian targets in Romania, as well as other places, the way they have against Ukraine. I mean, they have no respect for international law. They are happy to hit civilian targets to achieve their aim. And so I think Romania has to look real hard at, are your critical transportation nodes, are they properly protected from cyber attack, but also from missiles and drones? Are you ready for that? Right now, I don't think none of us are. But this is, that would keep me awake at night if I was responsible for that.
General Ben Hodges, thank you so much for this interview.
Thanks again for the privilege.